So the story of attachments is this newspaper is getting internet for the first time, and they hire a guy to come in and make sure that people are following the rules. So they're not going to websites that they shouldn't go to. And it's hard for me not to look at my World-Herald employees right here and go, you know what I'm talking about. So he's hired to come in and make sure that they use the internet for approved purposes. So he has to read everybody's email. And I mean, I'm not going to spoil everything, but I will spoil this. In reading the email, he falls in love. So this kind of gets to a theme for me. But now that I've written 3 books and I'm working on my 4th, I realize I really want to write love stories. I don't necessarily, my books probably aren't romances. The 2 main characters of this book spend very little time together in the same room or on the same page, which is not a traditional romance. The main character of this book is a man, which is again is not a typical romance. But for me, I enjoy reading love stories. I feel like I hate it when I go see a movie and there's no love, because to me that's not true to life. Like everyone you know, love is an important part of their lives. So I don't think it's a weakness for a story to spend time on love. For me, it's a real strength to see for love to be important to characters, because love is very, very important to me in my life. So I like to write love stories. I also like to write about nerds, apparently. All the characters in my books are very, very geeky. They are not socially adept, really. Lincoln, who's the main character of this book, has just come back from, he's gone to school so much that he has more degrees than he does purpose. And so he's come to move home with his mom, which sounds like not progress. But he's moving home with his mom just until he gets himself launched. So you only know they're from Nebraska if you live here. Then you'll recognize lots and lots and lots of things. And it's funny because people from Nebraska are overpowered by those references. Like they think this book is about living in Omaha, just plain and simple. The Ranch Bowl is in there, the Indian Hills Theater is a big plot point. And someone said to me, you know, I was thinking about sending it to my friend in Oregon, but I don't know if she'll like it because it's so much about Omaha. And I said, Kylie, this book has been translated into Turkish, or whatever they speak in Turkey. So I don't think it's a problem. You should send it to Oregon. Okay, and then I thought I'd read a little bit from Lincoln's point of view. So when I first sat down to write attachments, I really wanted to write these emails because I love to write dialogue. And that's something that I've realized even more as I've written more books. I just really want to watch the Gilmore Girls on a 24-hour loop. I just enjoy watching and listening and writing people have lovely banter, like wonderful little ping pong games where you learn things about them. And I mean, I could just really write a book that was all that. And that's what I did, actually, because I wrote all of their email first, and it's all banter. And then I had to write Lincoln, who's the character who's reading their email. And I was very intimidated about that, because I always knew that I was going to write him, but I never really thought, oh, that means I'm going to be writing from the point of view of a man. And then I started, and I thought, you know, this isn't that hard, because I'm surrounded by men all day long, and they never shut up about what they're thinking, you know? They're always talking to me. And I know how they think, sort of. I mean, kind of. I mean, they're not like they're polar bears. I can fake it. So I started writing from Lincoln's point of view, and actually that's when this book turned from kind of a side project for me into a real thing I wanted to do, because I really fell in love with Lincoln and writing from his point of view. And so Lincoln, at first you kind of don't know what's wrong with him when you first start reading the book, but the more that you read, you realize that he's kind of the way he is because someone broke his heart in high school. Okay, so now they're back in La Vista at a park over Christmas, and they're talking about whether they should break up. And her name is Sam. Why did you want me to come to California with you, he asked, if you knew we were going to break up? I didn't plan it this way, she said, less angry now and maybe a little ashamed. I didn't know when we were going to break up. I didn't know we were ever going to break up, he said. If you had told me that it was a foregone conclusion, I wouldn't have followed you across the country. He stopped talking and looked at her. Even in the dark, even in January, even breaking his heart, she was pink and radiant. She reminded him of a rose bush flowering in stop motion. God, he said, you know what? I probably would have. They were both quiet again. Lincoln couldn't trust himself to speak. Everything he wanted to say was wrong. Everything he wanted to say would make her want him less. I wanted you to come with me, Sam finally said, because I was scared to go by myself. And I told myself that it was okay letting you follow me because it was what you wanted. And because I guess I wasn't ready to say goodbye. They were quiet for another long while. It's not like I fell out of love with you, she said. I'm just not the same person that I was when I fell in love with you. People change, she said. Stop talking to me like that, Lincoln said. Like what? Like I'm Lord Greystoke and I need to be educated in the ways of man. I know that people change. I thought we were going to change together. I thought that's what it meant to be in love. I'm sorry, Sam said. Earlier, he said, you said you didn't plan it this way. How did you plan it? I didn't plan it, she said. I hoped that we would both just know when it was time, that we'd have one of those moments, like in the movies, foreign movies, when something small happens, something almost imperceptible, and it changes everything. Like there's a man and a woman having breakfast, and the man reaches for the jam, and the woman says, I thought you didn't like jam. And he says, I didn't, once. And after breakfast, he'll go for a walk, and she'll go to their room and pack a slim brown suitcase. She'll stop on the sidewalk and wonder whether she should say goodbye, whether she should leave a note, but she won't. She'll just get into the taxi and go. He'll know as soon as he turns onto their walk that she's gone, but he won't turn back. He won't regret a single day they spent together, including this one. Sam lay back onto the merry-go-round. She talked herself into a looser place. Lincoln lay down beside her so their heads almost touched in the center. Who's playing me in your movie? He asked gently. Daniel Day-Lewis, she said. She smiled. Lincoln could probably kiss her now if he wanted. Instead, he leaned down toward her ear so that she could hear him whisper. There's never been a moment, he barely said, when I didn't recognize you. She wiped her eyes. Her mascara smeared. He nudged the merry-go-round into motion. He could kiss her now, if he wanted. I'd know you in the dark, he said, from 1,000 miles away. There's nothing you could become that I haven't already fallen in love with. So, poor Lincoln does not kiss her and breaks up with her. So, sad. Poor sad Lincoln. But it actually works out for him in the end. I mean, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, I wrote that when I was 28. It definitely works out in the end.